Hi, Scott here. Hope you're well. So yesterday we had a big reaction from the pound news on Friday in the Asia session. So a lot of the pound pairs went massive spikes. So that would have spoiled the setups a little bit. But the ones I was looking at yesterday, there was one of them that set up nicely. Have a quick look at that. I wasn't able to take it because I was not in front of the charts at the time, and I probably wouldn't have anyway, and I'll explain why. But there's just a couple of things today. It's a bit quiet in the markets today. A lot of runs are coming to an end, so we're waiting for that proof that the trend has changed, and there's still some indecisiveness as well around some pairs. So we'll go straight into the charts. Let's go into that. I'll turn my video off. Do that. Right. Okay. So the one we looked at yesterday, I'll quickly look at that one because there's not too much else going on really. So we've got Aussie CAD. That's one I liked yesterday. And as you see, it did actually pull back for an entry. This is on the 1 hour chart here. Did pull back for an entry. Here's a 382, the fib. So could have entered here at 382 or waited for the pullback to complete and get a confirmed entry on maybe the 5 minute, whatever is your style. And that stop could have been a bit lower, maybe on the 618. We had the 4 hour 50 here as well, the blue line, to protect our stop, and the day 20 to protect our stop, which is this faint red line here. So that could have been an entry, and you probably wouldn't have entered right here. Actually, probably would have entered up here somewhere, and you'd now be sitting maybe at 1% profit or something. But one drawback on this trade I've just noticed is if we go to the daily, I'll zoom in on the daily. It's a little bit small. So what we have here is on this latest run, wave 1, Elliott wave 1 from this strong trend line here. Broke the daily 50, this red line. That's wave 1. Wave 2 pullback. Broke the daily 50 again. Then wave 3 run here. And that eventually turned to a wave 4, which was a wave 4 complex pullback. So we did like an ABC there. And then this is wave 5 short, which is what we're looking for, right? Yesterday's trade. The only drawback with this was that spike lower, which is where the hourly set the trade up. I will quickly go back to this. So this spike here lower actually did complete wave 5. So that low, it's not down to the low of this wick on wave 3. This is the wave 3 low, but it is down to the close of the wave 3 low. So that could be seen as a wave 5 complete. So the thing in favour of the trade was, which is still ongoing, right? Was we look at the Elliott wave on the 1 hour chart, we have a wave 1, 2, 3, complex 4 pullback. This should be wave 5. So there's a good chance it will still pull down to these lows to be a good trade, profitable trade. Even so, if you were in the trade, you should now be at break even or thereabouts. Move your stop away from your stop loss up here down to about break even. So even if it does pull back now, break the 1 hour 50, you still would not be losing money on this trade. Right, enough of yesterday. It's just something I noticed. I thought I'd bring attention to it. So Euro CAD for today. Let's have a look. It's a little bit messy. Let's just zoom out a bit. So monthly, very strong downtrend, definitely oversold. Weekly, similar, very oversold. Had a bit of a bounce. And the daily, you can see, is still oversold. No, it was oversold down here somewhere. We've got a MACD divergence for this low, which is a lower low on the price action, but a higher low on the MACD. So it's a MACD divergence implying higher prices, which you've now seen. We've gone higher. We've broken this long-term trend line here. And we've broken the daily 50, which is this red line. So we've gone past that. We now come back down to retest it. So we can see a little wave on here. Wave 1, wave 2 pullback, wave 3 to break the daily 50, wave 4 pullback down to the daily 50 and spike below it, but close above it. So that's quite bullish. And this can now be a wave 5 up to highs or a little bit higher. So that's looking like a long trade to me. My DDP, daily direction prediction, is long. The hourly, now the hourly is a bit messy because of, this was 26th, so this was 10 a.m. in the Asia sessions. This is when the big money managers in Asia kicked off. This could well be the Tokyo Open. I think it might be this big spike down. So that's probably a reaction from the news on Friday. There's a big spike down and a big spike straight back up again. So that makes it a little bit messy. So I played around with the fibs a bit. If you did the fib from the bottom to the top, we did retrace to the 382. So we go from the bottom to the top. You see it's retraced to 382, which is also this faint red line, which is the daily 20 and the daily 50, just back together now. So it's just touched that and bounced off. That's looking quite bullish. It's stalling here at the 1 hour 50, which is this red line, and the 4 hour 50 is just above it. So the problem with this is if you had a trade here, the entry would be down here, which you've had a bounce off of, but not enough to be an entry for the trade. And your stop would be down here somewhere. And it's not a bad trade, but you wouldn't be able to enter down here unless it came back down again. If you're entering up here somewhere, then we're getting 1-to-1, which is, in my mind, not worth the risk for this sort of trade. So what I did is I actually massaged the fib. The fibs always can be a little bit of lenience in how you use them. So I ignored this one here, this open, because this was a big spike down, a big spike back again. It's on the hourly, so it wasn't really a spike as in just a minute or two, but it was a quick reaction to something on Friday, and then they went, oh, okay, maybe not, let's go back again. Unless there was some news yesterday at 10 a.m. There was a yen announcement, so maybe that's what it was. They said something, the market reacted, they thought about it and went, oh, okay, maybe not, and it bounced back. So maybe that's what it was on the, on the Tokyo Open. There was a talk by somebody important about the Japanese yen, and they didn't say when it was going to be, so maybe that was the time there. So spike down, spike up again. So just ignore that one. Just use these lows here, and then we've now got 382 is way too high. So we now I just remove the wick. Bit of artistic license here to move the wicks, and we've got the 382 now lining up with the hourly 50, pretty close. A much nicer looking trade. It's always a bit riskier when you trim your fib, so you need to be a bit wary of that. Make sure you're not having your stop too close. But that looks okay because this price action here was a bit crazy. If you ignore that, that is fair enough. So the entry about around here somewhere where we are now. I'm recording this at 9 o'clock in the morning, so the Aussie will be kicking off in 45 minutes, and then Tokyo maybe about the same time, a little bit later. So there's a chance for us to give an entry here, stop down here somewhere, and take profit because we're now going with the trend. Remind you about the daily. we're going with the trend back up to the highs on wave 5. So that is the wave 5 to these highs, and that's quite a nice healthy looking trade. If that sets up and gives an entry. So that's one definitely to be looking out for, and my alert is right up there, which is no use to me. So I'll bring the alert down there. So that's Euro CAD, and the other one I have my eyes on is USD, the dollar yen. So on the daily, what do we have? Very overextended. The dollar's been going, a lot of strength in the dollar, daily, weekly, and monthly, very overextended. It's been having some resistance at this point here, which you say it's broken it yet or not? Maybe not. So maybe that's not such a great trade. Anyway, so we're expecting a bit more bullish momentum. We look at the lower time frames. And okay, so what I'm looking at here is a quick one-to-one pip snatcher, pull back to the daily pivot, or just below it to get our one-to-one before the highs. The 1 hour 50 is catching up, so maybe in another 4 or 5 hours. The hour 50 will be up here somewhere. We're going to pull back. Let me just do my nice little join tool. Zoom out the way and join tool here. So maybe in a while it'll come back down to here. The 1 hour 50 is give an entry and a very quick one-to-one profit. 1% profit there. So this trend line here looks reasonable. You'll need to break that, which is not ideal. And we also have this trend line here going way back, which you'll need to very briefly break that as well. So we need to see what the price action does, but it hangs around for quite a long time for the 1 hour 50 to catch up. We'll just see. And do we have anything else to look for? We'll look at the lows here. So the MACD on the lows here, here. Looks like we're going to be breaking that. I'll show you what I mean. This is the MACD on the hourly. So looking at these lows here, these 1, 2, 3 touches, and it's getting close now. Then we're looking at this from there. We do a trend line through there. It's a little bit arbitrary, but it's already broken that. By the time it does pull back to here, this MACD will be rolling over quite significantly. So that's implying that at the time of entry, a trend change is around the corner somewhere. So that's definitely a warning sign. So I would not take it for that reason, but it's worth analysing this just to show you what's going on. And the RSI, similar thing at the lows, and the RSI, it will probably be rolling over by the time we get an entry. That's something to keep an eye on. So I kind of took myself out of that one. That's not looking that great. So I'll put that back down to my second rate ones. When you're doing a quick one-to-one, you need a very high strike rate. And to have a very high strike rate, you need to look at all these kind of things and find a good reason why it won't work. And that for me is a definite reason why it won't work. So I'll go through 3 other ones which may set up today. Aussie Swiss. So we've had this pullback. I've got a new edit wave here. 1, 2. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not that clear, is it? A bit messy. We've had this major support level here. On the bottom here, which it's been rejecting a few times. It's a bit, because of the news events, it's kind of gone a bit volatile there on those daily candles. You can see it here on the hourly quite clearly. But the hourly is showing us higher lows, low, 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 higher lows. Since this high here, which is up here, we've rejected the daily 20, pull back down again, maybe now it's time for it to go up. So we're looking for a higher highs here to get a trade in and maybe trade up to the day 20, which is this red line here. Or if you're a conservative, just a 4-hour 50. That should be maybe enough room in there to get quick trade in. So what we need to see happen is this price action to break above the 1-hour 50 up to here somewhere. 1-hour 50 will be trending up at the time, and then that would be a nice quick trade. So my alert is set just above the 382 and the 1-hour 50. So I'd need to break through my alert before it's going to reach a new high, because we want to see a new high. If you get a double top, maybe it tops out here somewhere and rejects, and we don't want to enter the trade. So we want to see a clear new high, pull back, and quite that quickly, or maybe it will. And could be a quick trade in there. So Aussie Swiss, something for it later. Aussie Yen. Okay, we've had a nice breakdown. Relentless run. Is it oversold yet? No, not oversold yet. So it could be more to the downside. But we've had some good deceleration here. Big candle, smaller candle. And then maybe today we'll get some kind of quick pullback. I'm not expecting it to be going straight through and back up to new highs, because we are very overbought on the weekly. Oh, not too bad actually. It's sort of burning itself off a little bit. We're going sideways for a while, but it's definitely overbought. The monthly is looking overbought. Yeah, again, pretty overbought. And the daily looks like it could be ready for any MACD in here. We've got a MACD from this high to this high. So we've got a MACD divergence. That high there is definitely low on the MACD. So that looks like possible trend change. So we see there that is definitely trending down. Whereas on our price action, we're definitely trending up. That's called a MACD divergence, and that is a signal that it's going down, which it is. But maybe now's the time for it to have a breather, pull back to the day 20 and finish its wave 5. We've probably got a wave 1 in here, a little wave 2, this is wave 3, wave 4, pull back to the daily 50, and then a wave 5 to the lows. Not big swings going on here, but it could be something. When we go to micro time frames, we don't need much movement to get a good trade in. So we're back on the hourly. So you could be wanting to trade that short still. But this is one we looked at yesterday, and I disregarded it as another short, although it may have played out. It may just have played out there. But I didn't, because of this MACD divergence. We've got lower lows on the hourly price action and much higher lows on the MACD, indicating that reversal is imminent. So that played out, it seems, but it may well not have done. It may have stopped here somewhere and then trended upwards. So at the moment we have a lower highs, now we've got lower lows. So we need to see that change. So what we want to see happen is it's break here above the 1-hour 50, pull back to the 1-hour 50, then trade up to the 4-hour 50 to be up there somewhere. So that's something that may happen later on. I like the look of that as a possibility, and that then will give us an opportunity to basically trade that short again. Rejection off of the daily 50 here, 4-hour 50 is coming down to meet it. Day 20 is catching up as well, so we can then have another short trade down to the lows. If it all plays out nicely, we'll see. Swiss yen, not too dissimilar. We've had a big pullback, rejected the daily 50 on the daily now, so I just switch between charts pretty quick. So daily 50 rejection. Now it looks like it's going to go up a bit before it goes down. Hard to know. We've definitely got massively overbought on the weekly and the monthly. Big monthly spike there, which indicates we're going to turn around. And the fundamental support list, more strength in the Japanese yen. So maybe a quick bounce and then we're going short again. So what do we have? We had a pullback to the 1 hour 50. This could go either way. If we did get a bounce, a break of the 1 hour 50 and a pullback, that could give us a quick trade in there. Or we might find this just rejects here and just goes straight down to the daily 50 and below. But in my mind, it hasn't quite pulled back far enough yet. We can check that by looking at, I'm on the daily chart. If we do a 382 retracement from that high to the low, out there, and maybe we have done a 382 pullback already. So maybe that is all we're going to get. Keep an eye on that one and see if that is the case, then we'll be looking for a short trade down to the daily 50, a bit tight, a bit risky in the daily 20, daily 50 zone. Tends to be a little bit more undecided in there. So that would be a bit riskier. So to keep an eye on anyway. So that is what I have. And here's my video. Okay. So just a few things to look at there. Keep an eye on the charts and see if anything develops today. You're also seeing my my main watch list, which is all blues, which means that my way of saying that they will hopefully set up, but not today. So it could be setting up either very late today or probably tomorrow or even later in the week. And there's a couple in there which aren't quite as good as well, which is why they're not in my best list. So anyway, I hope you found that educational, useful, get a couple of ideas there, and have a great day in front of the charts. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care.